What's really going on? Why don't you... Okay.
I seen her Saturday, last Saturday. She's been like saying all this stuff to me. She's like, I'm gonna break your legs and all this stuff.
Break a leg is something that somebody says to wish you good luck.
Break a leg.
How about I break your leg?
Break a leg, guys.
What did you say to me?
I said break a leg, guys.
I don't want to break a leg. I'm gonna get the part. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Hello, demons, ghouls, goblins, spirits, spooks, and ghosts, and everyone else. Welcome to Vlogoween. So, today I want to talk about musicals. Yes, I've mentioned a few times on this channel that I was a theater kid. I'll always be somewhat of theater trash. I absolutely love the theater. And horror musicals are actually one of my favorite kind of musicals. A lot of horror musicals are really rock-oriented, and rock musicals might be my favorite genre. I think I can confidently say that. I just think they're so powerful, they're so amazing. Rock musicals tend to explore a little bit of darker themes. Maybe that's because of the genre, I don't know. But it's super duper exciting. So today we are going to talk about musicals, specifically horror musicals. Horror musicals, I think, tend to not be taken too seriously, and I think that a lot of the time, there are a few cult classics, of course, but many horror musicals, I think, aren't really well known, to be honest, and that's a shame. My very favorite musicals happen to be horror musicals, so I'm really, really excited for today's Vlogoween video. So we're just going to jump right in. Here we go. So, first, I want to show you guys the different tiers that I have. So starting at the very bottom tier, we have Hamilton demos.
I may not live to see our glory. I may not live to see our glory. I will gladly join the fray. I will join the fray. And when our children tell our story, when our
That's pretty self-explanatory, in my opinion. À mon avis, I think it is pretty self-explanatory. And then next, we have an all-white cast of The Wiz. Yes, that is the next tier. And then the neutral tier is Extra in Annie, the musical. I never was an Annie, but everyone I know that did theater at one point was an Annie. And so everyone I knew in theater hated Annie. This might be controversial, but I do kind of like Annie. I enjoy it every once in a while. Like, every once in a while, you know what I mean? It's not something that I'm like, it's not one of my favorite musicals or anything ridiculous like that. And then the second top tier is Denny's at Midnight, because as you know, or maybe you don't know, theater kids, after the show, after you're done taking off your makeup and resetting or putting things away and preparing for next show, after that it's usually like pretty late, and the only places that are open are like a Denny's or like maybe an IHOP, and then in my case there were some restaurants downtown near the beach that a lot of kids like to go to as well. So because I'm a California kid, ugh, that was gross. That was so nasty. But anyways, so yeah, and then the top tier is going to be Thank You 5. So this is a thing that we do in theater when, as it gets closer and closer to, you know, curtains going up and house being open, usually someone from the stage crew, a techie, will go around and let everyone know, like, house is open. And then you would say, thank you, house, and then they would say, like, 15 minutes, and you say, thank you, 15. So whenever they give you, like, the time as to when the show's gonna start, you just thank them. So I put thank you 5, because that's the one. I don't know. It just sticks with me. But anyway, so those are the tiers. I just wanted to explain those so that they make a little bit of sense. So we're going to get started. We're going to get started at the very, very bottom tier. I've chosen, I originally thought it was 15, but a bitch can't count, so I think it's actually like 16 or 17 musicals, but it was supposed to be 15. So I just chose like random horror musicals. Some of these musicals mean a lot to me, and they're my favorite musicals of all time. And then some of these musicals I've never even listened to, and some of these I've kind of listened to but not all the way through. So there's a mix of things in here. So I tried to get a little bit of everything for everybody. So at the very low end Hamilton demos tier, we have Carrie the musical. A bitch has gotta stay hydrated, y'all. There's a heat wave right now. It's like September 6th today, and there's a heat wave. Excuse me? And apparently fall doesn't start until September 22nd. What the fuck is that? Y'all can see I've been living in fall since like July, August, really, so. Anyways, sorry y'all, I had to put on some gloss because I felt like it. But anyways, so yes, Carrie the musical. I know this is quite low, and I know that this is, I don't know if it's super popular, but I feel like a lot of people liked this musical when it like reached the scene, like especially on Tumblr. It's just not my thing. I don't really like a lot of the songs. I think it's very slow paced. I think this story is so amazing and it's so intriguing, and I think this really could have been such an amazing stage production, but from what I've seen, I think it kind of didn't really, it didn't hit the mark, is that the saying? It just wasn't for me. I just didn't think it was as much of a spectacle as it could have and should have been. Stage allows us to express stories in such a unique and fascinating way. It's such a great medium for horror, in my opinion, as well. And so I just think it could have been much bigger and better. I will say a song that I really love from this musical, and I cannot, the name of this show tune, this song escapes me, but it's the one where like Carrie's telling her mom that she just had gotten her period, and the mom is talking about the curse of blood. I can't remember that song. I'll put it right here, but that is an amazing track, and when I first listened to the musical, that was the only song that I ended up saving and liking. Like all the other songs, I can't even tell you. I don't remember really. And then I've never seen a full show of it, but I went to an awards ceremony for my school. I don't know. I can't remember if I was nominated for something or if I was performing at it. I don't remember what it was, but another school in our district had done Carrie that season, so they performed the crazy song towards the end where I don't remember what the song is called, but it's definitely the prom scene. And their performance was great, but I just really didn't care for the music. And then after I saw their performance, that's when I listened to the musical, and I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. So that's why I put Carrie at Hamilton Demos. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people really like it. It's just really not my thing. But yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, before I go on, also, I just want to say, if there's a horror musical that I didn't list on here, it's probably because I have never heard of it, or it's because I've never listened to it and I wouldn't have been able to have, there would have been nothing for me to say about it. So if you have horror musicals that you like that I don't list in this video, please comment them down below, because like I said, I really love musicals and I especially love horror musicals, so I won't be mad to learn of more musicals for the musicals that I can check out, so please let me know. I would really appreciate it. So next, in all white cast of The Wiz, in this tier, at the very bottom of this tier, we have Coraline the musical. So yes, there is a musical version of Coraline, however it is extremely bizarre. But I don't even remember when I discovered this musical. It's been like years. My favorite song from this musical, and this is quite sad, is the overture, is the opening. It's so beautiful and simple, and I think it really captures the essence of Coraline and of like the sort of creep but also childlike amazement. It's very beautiful. Highly recommend that you check it out. However, this musical is very weird and it's very uncomfortable to listen to. They cast an elderly woman as Coraline, which, okay, I understand, but at the same time, like, I get it, because it is challenging when it comes to, you know, like, child labor laws, and it's easier to get an adult than a child, and it makes more sense. I get it. But to go in such a drastic choice, like, when you're listening to it, it just sounds like you, like, I was, the first time I listened to it, I listened to the whole thing without realizing that she was Coraline. I didn't even realize. So I was like confused the whole time. And so it really kind of takes you out of the story. And that's unfortunate. I hate to say that, because I am happy that, you know, someone of an older age got like a role, because there's really not a lot of roles for people of older ages in many medias, you know, and that's really unfortunate. At the same time, I just think it was a bold move. It was a bold move. If you go on like YouTube comments from songs for this musical, people just drag the fuck out of this musical. And that's like, damn, ma, like, that's sad. But at the same time, like, it could have been better. My hope is that someone with a more clear, less weird vision, and maybe a bigger budget, is huger, that's not a word, budget, gets to redo this. Because I honestly think that Coraline would make an amazing musical if done correctly. I think it has potential. Next is going to be the Addams Family musical. I've listened to the Addams Family musical and I literally thought it was very boring. I didn't find it enjoyable. I don't even really remember the plot that well. I remember thinking the plot was weird though. And this was another show that another school in my district like did in their season, so I got to see a performance from it. And again, I thought they were fine, but it just really wasn't my thing. And I think I heard kids from my school like sing songs from this show, because it was kind of a popular show and I didn't really get it, especially because the Addams Family is like so iconic, and I just thought this really, I don't know, I just really didn't care for it. Sorry, I know it's kind of a popular musical, but it truly was not my thing. So next is Beetlejuice. I do remember seeing quite a bit of fan art for it on Tumblr. I mean, there's fan art for literally everything, so maybe that's not an indication of popularity. But I remember, the vibe I was getting was that people were enjoying it. I didn't enjoy it. I saw the Tony's performance for this musical, and I saw the Macy's Day Parade performance, or some parade performance they did. The guy that plays Beetlejuice, I thought was extremely annoying. Extremely annoying. I couldn't stand it. Well, that's the character. No. He wasn't funny. He was really annoying. I was not a fan at all. And then when it comes to the music, I personally, like, I remember trying to listen to this musical, and I think I only got like 3 songs deep, and that was it. So, you know, I do want to give this maybe another listen, maybe, but also I kind of don't. But yeah, I was honestly disappointed, because when I first heard that they were making it into a musical, I was kind of like not into it. But when I saw pictures from like some of the previews and things like that, I was a little bit more excited about it. I do think that everything besides the music and like, I don't want to say the entire cast, but the cast, I actually kind of liked. Like, I think the lighting is really cool. I really liked the costumes. I really enjoyed the puppetry that they used and like the stage and set and everything like that. So I really did enjoy those elements. The next tier is going to be Extra and Annie the Musical, and the first musical that I'm going to be talking about is Tanz de Vampire. I probably fucked that pronunciation up completely terribly, but you know, I don't speak German, but I can if you like. But anyways, so Tanz der Vampire is a German original musical. And honestly, I don't really know much about the plot because I only really listened to it and I read somewhat on Wikipedia. Here's a tip. If you want to listen to a musical and you really want to get more into it, check out the Wikipedia about the musical, because the entire plot, like the character descriptions and usually like a song, usually can be found. And it's like, it makes it easier because sometimes when you're listening to a musical, it doesn't always tell you the entire story of what's actually going on. It just, you know, but sometimes it does, but not always. And of course this is in German, and yo know hable German, so, you know. The reason why I did include this musical on the list, however, is because it sounds amazing, even though I had no idea what's going on. Also, I wanted to talk about the American version of this musical for a little bit. This musical did have a little stint on Broadway. However, this musical, the American version, was doomed from the fucking get-go. There was a lot of drama behind the scenes with the producers and with the cast, and it seemed like people couldn't agree on the direction to take with the American version, and so they made a lot of changes in the American version that people hated, and it kind of flopped. And I did find a bootleg of the American version on YouTube, and people were just dragging it in the comments, and I can't remember if the dislike, I don't remember what the dislikes were, but it wasn't looking too good, honey. So I just wanted to talk about that because, you know, I was like reading the Wikipedia on the whole mess that went down behind the musical. I was like shocked because there was just so much drama and tea. It was a really interesting read. I'll include the Wikipedia link down below in the description if you want to read on it yourself. So, oh my god, sorry, I moved the camera by mistake. Tanz de Vampire. Highly recommend it. I definitely want to get more into it because, like I said, I really don't know much about the plot. But it's German, it sounds amazing, and I loved the vibes completely, yes. So next is a musical that I was actually in. It was actually my last 2017. That was the last time that I ever was involved in a stage production. That makes me feel really sad. Next year, if, not when, if the United States gets Rona under control, my goal is going to be to audition for something theater-wise, because that makes me sad. I absolutely love theater, and I would love to get I would love to get the chance to do it again. But anyways, I was actually in this production, and that is going to be Jekyll and Hyde, the musical. So, fun fact, David Hasselhoff was actually in this musical at one point, and most people hated it. Most people hated his performance. It was a little shaky, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, my school did this production, and what can I fucking say? You know what I mean? Jekyll and Hyde is just a weird musical overall. I just think it's a little weird, and I'm not a fan of all of the music. I was in the ensemble, like always, usually. I was a poor person because anyone that didn't pass the paper bag test fucking got casted as poor. I'm not even kidding. That's literally how it went down. The show itself is a little odd. It's not my favorite, but I did want to include it on the list because, like I said, I do have somewhat of a relationship with it. It was the last show that I was involved in. It was tons of fun. Wait, was it the last one? I might be lying about it being the last stage production I was involved in, but I will say it was the last thing I performed in. That's true. But yeah, that was my senior year show. So, shout out to all the theater kids who didn't get to perform in their senior show because of 2020 being general shit. I apologize. I feel bad for all the kids that, like, their extracurriculars got canceled. Like, one of my youngest brother graduated class of 2020, and I mean, we had to do a drive-through graduation. He did get to play his soccer because soccer is, like, you know, earlier in the year, so he did get to do that. But I feel bad for everyone, you know. So shout out to all the students, because y'all are killing it. Couldn't be me. Next is going to be Sweeney Todd. So Sweeney Todd is my favorite. One of my favorite Office episodes is when Andy is in Sweeney Todd. That is literally, like, I think that might be my favorite Office episode. It's just, it hits really deep for me. I have seen a local production of Sweeney Todd that I actually ended up enjoying way more than I was expecting to. Sweeney Todd, I love the story. I love the premise so much. But the music sometimes is really boring, and the pacing for the show is so slow. Like, this show could really lose, like, 20 to 30 minutes, in my opinion. Like, they could really just condense it a little bit better. I do love the movie version. I have seen it. I actually got the lucky chance of seeing the costumes from this movie at a museum, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise in LA, in Los Angeles. So that was really, really cool. I saw those really young. I had to be like 9. No, I probably was like 8 when I saw those costumes. I was fairly young, but it was a really cool experience. So anyways, it is a good show, but it's not one of my favorites. But I do love the drama of it all. I do love the sort of suspense and the plot twist of it all, and the sort of nasty of it all. One of my theater teachers used to tell the story all the time about how he went to a dinner theater production of Sweeney Todd, and they actually had meat pies on the menu. And so when the big reveal came, everyone was like he said you could just hear some people, like, being all grossed out because they were literally eating it. Like, I was like, oh man. So the last musical I'm going to include on this tier is called BATBOY the Musical. It's not super well known, and to be honest, I have listened to the whole musical. I do like it. It's not one of my favorites, but one of my favorite musical theater songs ever is called 3 Bedroom House, and it's from this musical, and I think it's an amazing song. So I would highly recommend you check it out. But it's a super weird musical about this BATBOY creature thing that's, like, found in a cave and ends up, like, living with this family, and just trouble just follows them. And a lot of weird and kind of deep shit happens in it too, so it's kind of odd. But it's super weird, it's definitely unique, and I appreciate it for that. So check it out if you want to see a musical, if you want to hear it and you've never heard of it. I would definitely recommend. Next tier is going to be Denny's at Midnight. First, we are going to have Little Shop of Horrors. So I do love this musical. I love the premise. I love Audrey 2. I love the puppet work, and Audrey 2 would be so cool. Like, doing a Little Shop of Horrors production would just be so freaking cool just for the Audrey 2. Like, I would live for that. I do love the movie. I'm not even tripping. The movie's great. It's a cult classic. Please go watch it. It's so lovely. But yeah, I absolutely love Little Shop of Horrors, and it's not one of my favorites, but I really do like it. Next is going to be a musical that I actually discovered like less than a month ago, and that is going to be called Lizzie the Musical. Lizzie the Musical is based upon the story of Lizzie Borden, which, if you don't know, Lizzie Borden, I mean, she pretty much killed, she denied it until her death, I believe, but she killed her dad and her stepmom. But the musical is super rad. I haven't finished it, but I'm still putting it top tier because it's so amazing and it sounds so beautiful and it's so freaking good, and I think more people should be into it. There is no, unfortunately, recording of this musical, and that absolutely breaks my heart.
Say what you want about bootlegs. Yes, they're illegal, and I get why people don't like them, but Broadway needs to be more accessible, damn it. Like, oh my god. It blew me away that Hamilton was about, like, a bunch of, you know, poor people of color and immigrants and people trying to make a change, and the tickets were so motherfucking damn expensive. Like, we need to make Broadway more accessible. I'm happy that you can stream Hamilton. I'm not happy that it's on Disney Plus of all platforms, but if there was like a Netflix for like a Broadflix, are you kidding me? Take my money, take it. I would gladly pay for something like that. Fools, all of them fools.
Next, I consider this a horror musical. And this is going to be Phantom of the Opera, because say what you want. I mean, yeah, it's like a romantic, beautiful musical. But like Home Dude was also like running around terrorizing people, so I consider it a horror musical. Do you think it's a horror musical? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, Phantom of the Opera has been in my life for quite a while. I feel like it's so much easier to take a movie and put it on stage than it is to take the stage and try to condense it to the screen. I just don't think that that's easy. Like, it's one thing to professionally record a stage production and, you know, do that. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about changing the medium completely. That is very hard to do, which is why Cats should have never fucking happened. But anyways, moving along. Yeah, so I did like the movie, and I know it's a little cringe, but I liked it. I laughed so hard when Miss Shameless just ripped off his mask, like, literally couldn't breathe. I thought that shit was funny. There is a lesbian Japanese version of this production, and it's weird as hell, and I absolutely love it. I've only been able to find Act 1. I've never seen Act 2. And I don't like watching it. It seems like the story is slightly different, but I really can't just tell just because it's in Japanese, you know? But I love the costumes, and it's two women. Like, there's a woman phantom, so, you know, I'm here for it. So next is going to be an absolute cult classic, and that's Rocky Horror. Of course, I was not going to make a horror musical video and not mention the, like, amazing Rocky Horror musical. Also, I feel like we as a society don't talk about the Glee's take on Rocky Horror, the musical. It was a mess, but I loved it. Oh my god, I keep moving the camera because it's plugged in. Okay, long story. Too long, you didn't ask. Anyways, but I did love the Glee version. But yeah, Rocky Horror, the musical, is fucking amazing. I love Tim Curry. I love that man. I really want to get more into his work because really the other piece of work that I absolutely love him from is going to be Clue, the musical. Not the musical, the movie. I think there is a musical of Clue, but it didn't do too well, and it's super weird. I think there is a musical. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, yes, I love this man, and this is one of his most iconic roles, of course. I have seen Rocky Horror numerous times locally, so it's, wow, like, after Rona, there's certain things now that are just gonna seem so, like, gross, and going to one of those now just makes me want to, like, self-quarantine for, like, 2 weeks. But anyways, yeah, I absolutely love Rocky Horror. What else can I say, really? Like, there's nothing else to be said. The plot is really weird, though. Like, can we talk about that? Like, every time I finish, like, watching the movie, or listening to it, I always feel like, what the hell did I just watch? The last musical in this Denny's at Midnight tier is going to be Nevermore, the musical. That's right, a musical based upon Edgar Allan Poe, which I do plan on making a video on Edgar Allan Poe. I don't know if you'll see that one first or this one first. I have a feeling like you're gonna see the Edgar Allan Poe video first. So I'll put that up here if you do want to watch it. That man was a fucking weirdo, and he did a lot of weird. He's a weirdo, and we should talk about it because he's a fucking weirdy guy. But anyways, moving along. I do, however, I can't lie, like, I am a fan of the man's work. My mom bought this for me because I was such a fan of the man's work. I used to be someone that would read. Okay, I used to read. I've never actually finished this. I kind of want to do that. I am a fan of this man's work, and discovering his work in school was super exciting. I always loved the Gothic horror unit, and I just always loved exploring more and more of his poems and his short stories. So, but he's a fucking weirdo. But this musical is super, super cool. I love the lighting. I love the costumes. I'm obsessed with it. I just think it's super rad, and it's so criminally underrated. To be fair, I've only actually listened to it all the way through, like, maybe twice, because it's long as shit. It's long as fuck. But it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's on Spotify. Most of these musicals that I've mentioned, you can find on Spotify or YouTube, by the way, so But yeah, highly recommend Nevermore. My only ish with this musical is that they really misrepresented Edgar Allan Poe, and they kind of painted him. This isn't just the musical though, like, and I'm gonna talk about this more in my Edgar Allan Poe video, but like, I don't know why we as a society like try to paint historical figures as like people that they just simply weren't. I think historical fiction and basing things on historical figures is fine, but I also think that there should be some sort of disclaimer somewhere in the work. Or like, if you're gonna create it, you should also admit like where you sort of took some liberties. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think it's odd to like paint them as this like good guy just because they happen to be the protagonist of the story. They don't have to be good. They can just be who they were, and you can still portray them that way. And at the same time, I understand being an artist, creating something based upon a real person and wanting to, you know, paint them in your own light. But I just think that that kind of becomes a little problematic, because then we get people like Thomas Jefferson, you know, Miku Binder Mess, you know, and I think there's a limit, and I think we shouldn't cross it. You know what I mean? So next we are moving to top tier thank you 5. These 3 musicals that I'm going to list are actually some of my favorite musicals ever. Be More Chill. I think this is a horror musical, so I'm gonna put it here. Do you think it's a horror musical? Let me know down in the comments below. To this day, September 6th, 2020, that I'm filming this, I still have never been able to finish the Broadway cast recording. But Will's voice, I just think, I can't picture anyone other than Jeremy than Will. So I know that's like not fair to anyone else who wants to play Jeremy here, but Be More Chill is very popular, I think, on Tumblr and in musical theater fandom, but I don't think it's actually well known in musical theater spaces. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm not really active in musical theater spaces like I once was. So at the time that I was, this musical was still an only like it wasn't even really off Broadway. I think they premiered in like Jersey, right? 2-player, where was the theater? 2 Rivers Theater, something like that. But I have been following this musical since it's quite early on. I love this musical. Be More Chill is so unique. So if you've never heard of it, because it is quite unique.
Basically, it's about this kid named Jeremy here, and he's kind of a loser. And he feels like he's not the main character, when he literally is the main character. And there's this popular kid at his school that's like, hey, I used to be like you, I was a complete loser. But what I did was I took this pill, and inside this pill contains this supercomputer that will make you super cool and will teach you how to be a cool dude, and you'll become cool like me, and I'm awesome, you should be awesome, be like me. So Jeremy takes this pill, and this supercomputer is downloaded to his brain, and of course it goes to shit, but that's the musical.
That sounds complicated. I swear it makes a lot more sense. This is a musical where I feel like if you just listen to it, you won't miss a lot of the plot, because a lot of it's explained in the songs. So, highly recommend. We need to protect Michael at all costs. The way Michael, like, one of my favorite characters in a musical ever. Michael is amazing. I love that dude. But yeah, so that's pretty much Be More Chill. It's also set to like this super like 8-bit, almost like electronic sound, and I love it. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's very unique. It's unlike any other musical that's really out currently. It is based off of a book, so. And this musical did eventually make its way to Broadway, which a lot of us were super excited about. So next, I'm going to list a musical that is sort of cringy now, but Heathers. Honestly, I'm gonna say this, I think Heathers walked so Hamilton could run. And what I mean by that is, I think the Heathers fandom was sort of the blueprint for what the Hamilton fandom became, and the Hamilton fandom even went harder than what the Heathers fandom did. And I'm saying that because I was there. I witnessed it. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw how Tumblr changed and how Tumblr made musical theater more accessible for many people. I saw it. So Heathers is absolutely amazing. I do love the movie as well. You know, I love my girl Winona Ryder. But yeah, the musical is great too. I'm not going to say I prefer the musical over the movie, but I will say I've spent way more time with the musical than I have with the movie. This musical really holds a special place in my heart. I used to actually sing a lot of the songs from this musical for like auditions and shit. Not a lot. I mainly would sing Kindergarten Boyfriend because Martha was one of my dream roles for a really, really long time. I really connected to her character. This musical is really dark, and it's very hard to listen to when you're in a dark space, but for some reason when I was a kid, I listened to it a lot anyways. I think in a way it was like a comfort for me, even though it was kind of triggering at the same time. Kind of like BoJack Horseman. Like, just a weird, maybe slightly toxic relationship, but I still do love it. Now I can watch BoJack Horseman and Heathers and not feel like, you know, this sense of dread. But at one time that I wasn't in that space, you know. But Heathers is absolutely amazing. I love all the songs from this musical. Like there isn't a song that I don't like. And I love this musical. I would love to be a part of a Heathers production one day. Veronica's quick change is something that I think about like a lot in the beginning of the show. I think about it a lot. Like as a costumer, it's something that means a lot to me. So Heathers is one of my favorite shows of all time. I would highly recommend if you haven't checked it out. I know that there is a British cast recording of this show. However, again, this is sort of a weird thing I have where it's just like I have more loyalty to the original cast recording. I just do. Also, what's her name? Okay, this is so bad, but literally, the woman who plays Veronica, she is so talented, and my brain always, whenever I see her name, my brain translates her name to Breitbart Wilbert Weed. Like,
My brain mixed up letters like B and D and M and W.
that's how my brain thinks her name is, but that's not her name. But Homegirl is so freaking talented. Like, I honestly did not like Mean Girls the musical, but that one song she sings in Mean Girls the musical slaps. It slaps. It's a slapper. It's a banger. It's a bop. It is what it is, period. The last musical on my list, and arguably my favorite musical ever. I don't like to claim that because it kind of changes as time goes, and like there's a lot of my favorite musicals, you know what I mean? But American Psycho the musical. I know what you guys are thinking. What? They made it into a musical? Yes, they did. And I want you guys to know that the author of the book that it originally was actually prefers the musical's take than the movie's take, which I find interesting. I've never actually watched American Psycho all the way through. I've just seen bits and pieces of it. So, you know, but I do love the musical. It is produced and created by the same man who is behind Spring Awakening, Duncan Sheik, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He is an amazing, like, producer, in my opinion. Like sound, like, he's just an amazing musician. I really believe that. American Psycho is so good. It's so unique. There is an original cast recording starring, I think it's an original London recording, actually, starring, I don't know his name, but he's one of the doctors from Doctor Who. I think Matt Smith, I think he did good, but Benjamin Walker I do like a little bit more, I'm not gonna lie. And I looked it up, but maybe I need to look a little bit deeper, but I don't think there was ever a cast recording of the American version that was on Broadway, which really sucks. I think this musical, unfortunately, came out at the wrong time. It came out at the same time as Hamilton, and Hamilton was big, right? It was really big, but every season there's like a big musical that kind of outshines other musicals, but Hamilton did this to the max, like to the max. So I feel like a lot of other musicals, you know, weren't fairly recognized that season, and I think American Psycho is one of them. I definitely think they should have won the Tonys for Best Lighting. It will never make sense to me why Hamilton took that award. The lighting in Hamilton is not extraordinary, like in any regard. It didn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. It still confuses me to this day. Like, I still haven't gotten over the 2016 Tonys. Like, but anyways, yes. So, what did you guys think about my rankings? I know these aren't like all of the horror musicals ever. I don't know if you all know this, but there's a a musical version of The Human Centipede. If there's anything I did miss, let me know down in the comments below, because like I said, I'm always interested in horror musicals. I have been talking about musicals, about theater, for 46 minutes and 48 seconds. This is who I am. This is who I am. I just have to accept it. If you guys are interested in ordering custom-made album earrings, I got these from my friend's Etsy. He makes really cool earrings. They make really cool shit. Highly recommend you check them out. I will include it down below. And this is my custom-made witch hat, which I will also include down below. You guys are probably going to see this hat in many more videos, but I just got this hat like a few days ago, so I've been like wearing it like a lot around the house, because I'm just, I mean, look at this bitch. Look at it. But anyways, I'm going to end this video because like I said, I've literally been talking for almost 50 minutes straight. I really appreciate you guys for watching this. Let me know what your favorite Vlogoween video has been thus far. I cannot wait for people to see these videos. I've been working super hard on getting this content for you guys, and I'm just really excited for people to see it. So yeah, so if you guys did like this video, please leave a like, a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. As always, a huge thank you to my patrons, a huge thank you to my YouTube members, a huge thank you to my subscribers, and thank you to you, yes you, even if you are not subscribed. I still really appreciate you for checking this video out and for checking Vlogoween out. With that said, I do have more Vlogoween content planned. 31 days of videos, 31 days of October. Here we go. So if you are into horror, if you are into Halloween, and you do want to see more, I think you should subscribe. But with that said, I'm going to get going, and I will see y'all in the next one. Alrighty, y'all. Bye.